Good evening. All right, I see you live. I'm gonna add you in. Get you added in. Let's see where we are. Oh, there you go.
I'm here. Hello, everyone.
You're there.
Yes, I am.
All right.
I'm about to sit down.
I'm gonna be here too.
Okay. I am here.
All right.
Yes, I'm
Give
ready.
everybody a few minutes to come on.
I remember to turn his phone on.
Give everybody a few minutes to get on and get myself adjusted. My helper isn't here yet. She's still coming home from band practice. How you doing, Liv?
I'm doing okay, just a little.
Got my helpers tonight. I can see better.
Yeah. So you must be nearsighted. I'm farsighted. I don't need my glasses to read, but I need them to drive. So.
Yeah, I can see better. I have my help.
Let me get me a pen.
All right, I'm giving everybody just a few minutes to come on. Y'all are on the page already. You can do a wave or something. Let us know that you're on. We are totally excited about our live on tonight. I'm just trying to make sure I'm okay.
You
right.
Okay? I'm trying to
wait for Olivia to get situated. My partner in crime. Nope, we're not doing crime. I'm sorry. Not my partner in crime. My partner in support. How about that?
All right, there you go.
Hold on 1 second. Let me do something else here. All right. Just need to be able to hear. All right. Good evening to every one of you.
Hello, everyone
that have joined us on tonight. I am Priscilla.
I am Olivia.
And we are once again excited about being able to go live and be able to provide some information to you. Did send out a flyer today earlier, so hopefully we have those that have seen the flyer, that have gotten on. As we've stated on many occasions, we are just here to help build a community of support for those who are dealing with the same area. In my case, caregiving for my grandmother, my mother, who are both dealing with dementia. And so we just wanted to build a community of support where we could come in and just be able to share positive vibes, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, be able to help each other to be able to deal better so that we can, have the strength that we need for this journey that we're on. We are praying and believing God for healing because I do believe that God is a God who can heal every manner of sickness and disease. So we are yet praying. The Bible says that, Jesus' name is above all other names. And so I'm a believer that his name is above dementia. And so I call it what it is. Some people say don't name it, to each his own, but I have to call it what it is in order for it to know that his name is greater than what it is. And in the meantime, we do what we feel God has commissioned us to do, which is to make ministry out of each one of these moments. So this is why we're here. We do hope and pray that even as you are on the line, on the chat with us, that you're strengthened, you're encouraged. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you yourself are dealing or have dealt in this area and you would like to come on and share your experience, we invite you to do that as well. Inboxes, comment. We would be more than happy to bring you on so that we can help to continue to build. If you know anybody who is dealing in this area, any caregiver, doesn't necessarily have to just be dementia, Alzheimer's. That's our main focus. But if there's a caregiver that you know of that can benefit from the things that we talk to, tag them, call them, tag them. If they have Facebook, let them know. We are live and we're ready to share and to strengthen you all. So on tonight, we're going to deal with, last week we mentioned briefly that this week we're going to be dealing with abuse, elderly abuse, and we're going to talk about it from two separate perspectives. But just before Olivia, because I'm going to give it to her in just a moment, and let me say this: if you see me looking down while she's talking, I am reviewing comments, trying to get your questions, looking at what you all are saying to be sure that we don't miss anybody, and we will answer as best we can. If we don't have an answer, we will make sure that we get you an answer. We are looking next month, we're looking to bring in some healthcare providers, those who are working closely with this particular area, and be able to bring them on so that they too can share some information with us that will help us as we um, walk on this journey. But when we look tonight, as I said, elder abuse, and one of the notes that I wrote down, the question was, why are people with dementia more vulnerable? And it says that people with dementia are especially vulnerable because of the disease, and it may prevent them from reporting or recognizing the abuse. They fall prey to strangers who take advantage of their cognitive impairment. And so this is what we're going to talk about tonight, so that you can recognize abuse, because as we've stated before, there's certain character traits that you have to have that are necessary to be able to deal on this particular level. I'm going to turn it over to Olivia. I'm going to come back in when she gets done, and we'll move from there.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Olivia, and as Priscilla stated, that we're going to talk about abuse, and the abuse it happens to everyone, elderly, children, even just normal people. It's several different types of abuse that can happen, and I just want to make you aware of the different type of abuses that elderly experience, and they rely on others to take care of them. They rely on their family, rely on their caregiver, rely on maybe a neighbor or even a close friend to come and take care of them. This makes them really vulnerable. And with them being real vulnerable, it opened the door to mistreatment and being taken advantage of. Okay, so what is elderly abuse? Elderly abuse is when someone harms or neglects a person that is the age of 60 or older. And as I said, these individuals can be your caregiver, family members, friends, or your neighbors. Abuse can take place in different types of environments, such as the elderly's home, such as a nursing home, an assisted living facility, or even in the home of a relative. And most times, the people that abuse the elderly, they abuse because maybe they're frustrated, maybe they're stressed, they could be tired, they could be lonely, they could be angry, and they could even have financial situations. So, with all that being said, I'm going to discuss four different types of abuse that I think is really important for everyone to know and to understand and to also watch out for. The first one is physical abuse. Physical abuse, is things such as hitting, shoving, kicking, burning, even locking them in a room, giving them drugs that's not prescribed. This type of abuse can cause bodily harm or injury. And when we say locking them in a room, when you have someone that has dementia or Alzheimer's, it could be really stressful, and it can, really kind of like get overwhelming, and you need like a timeout, or you need to see a little quiet time. So sometimes, you put them in a room, and you lock the door and you leave them in there. That's physical abuse. Um, Not only that, but they don't want to go to sleep at night, because a lot of times dementia, if you're a family member have dementia or Alzheimer's, they roam at night. They don't sleep all the time. They get up, they walk back and forth. They, sometimes mumble to themselves. They just don't want to go to sleep. So sometimes, hey, they say, well, let me give them some prescription medicine to knock them out, to put them to sleep.
Can't do that.
That's not allowed. That is called abuse. That is physical abuse, because it's a prescription or some type of medicine, some type of medication that will knock them out that they are not prescribed to. So that is physical abuse. Some signs of physical abuse, different types of signs of physical abuse, can be a broken bone. It can also be unexplained bruises, unexplained cuts, bleeding, unexplained burning, an injury that happened over and over again. Even if the individual do not want to go to the doctor, because they know that the doctor will probably, try to ask what happened. So their caregiver will not, take them to the doctor, afraid that the doctor say, okay, why she keep getting this bruise? Why they keep getting that bruise? Where is this coming from? Where is that bruise coming from? So when they don't take them to the doctor, that is a part of physical abuse. The next one, a lot of people don't think about this one, but this often happens. And I remember one time I was working in a nursing home, and we had one of the workers do this to one of the patients at the nursing home. So, like I said, abuse can take place in the nursing home, and that type of abuse is sexual abuse. And this is when an older person is forced to have sexual contact with another person. A lot of times, if you don't, do a background check, or, make sure that you have the right caregiver inside the home, whether it's male or female, because sexual abuse can come from male or female, they can sexually abuse your loved one. Not only by having sexual contact with them, sexual abuse also includes watching pornography with them, taking off their clothes inappropriately, touching inappropriately, and then sometimes it could even lead to rape. Because if you think about it, if you have an elderly person, they don't know what's going on. Their mind is, not there all the time, and this person can really take advantage of the individual, and which can lead to sexual abuse. Now, the different signs of sexual abuse, the clothes are torn, they have bloody clothes, especially of their underwear or their undergarments, bruises on both sides of their body, or around their breasts, or around their private areas, also bleeding from the vagina or the bottom. Those are just the signs that you may not think about looking for, but if you look for those signs, then I would think about calling the doctor, or calling someone about your loved one that has been sexually abused. The next one is psychological abuse. Now, this is psychological abuse is any action that hurts a person emotionally. It has to deal with the mind. It happens when someone threaten them, someone yell at them, call them names, talk down to them, ignores them over and over again, want to control what they do, who they see, where they go. That is psychological abuse. And a lot of times everybody think that psychological abuse is a silent abuse, because if they're not verbal, they can't verbalize anything, then no one really knows that they are being abused psychologically. Some signs that you can pay attention to know that your loved one is being psychologically abused. They can act frightened. They start withdrawing or pulling themselves away from the family. Changes in their behavior that can't be explained. Sometimes they may rock back and forth, suck their teeth, or mumble to themselves. They could be depressed, confused. They like doing things like, going shopping or eating their favorite ice cream. That stops. They no longer want to go anywhere. They no longer want the favorite things that they used to eat, and even having trouble sleeping. So those are some signs that you can pay attention to know if your loved one is being psychologically abused. The last one that that I thought was very important was neglect. A lot of times people don't think that neglect is abuse, but it is abuse. And neglect normally is not tending to the older person's needs or wants. For example, not giving them enough food, just giving them a little bit and they still hungry, and you don't give them any more food, or not giving them enough things to drink, such as water, not having enough clothes, not making sure that they get their medication that they need, not helping them to bathe, not helping them to dress, or not even helping them pay their bills. And sometimes it could even lead up to abandonment. You know, um, the loved one could get really, upset, don't want to be there, and they leave them and they lock them inside the house or lock them inside the room again and abandon them for hours and hours and don't go and check on them. And a lot of times, the elderly, they don't want to say anything or they don't want to report it because they're afraid, because they know that that's their caregiver and that's the person that's taking care of them. Some signs of neglect can be if they have on dirty clothes, if they're messy, if they're not clean, if their hair is not done, if their skin has rashes on them, if they're dirty around the mouth. Sometimes even neglect, their fingernails are long, their toenails are long, they're not clean. Um, they lose weight suddenly. They begin to stop eating because they're saying they're not hungry anymore. They get bed sores because they're always in the bed. They're laying there. No one is either turning them. No one is coming getting them up. They get bed sores. Or if, they wear dentures, they don't have them on anymore. They only have the top part of the dentures, not the bottom part. The dentures are broken. They wear eyeglasses, but they don't never go get their eyeglasses. They don't never get to their doctor's appointment. Um, and they have hearing aids or a walker, and they don't use their hearing aids, and the loved one's not going to help them find the hearing aid. They're not going to help them get a walker. They're not going to help them get the basic needs that they need to survive in life. They're not going to help them with their ADLs, which is assisted daily living things, such as, taking them out, or, just talking to them, doing the things that they like to do. That is what neglect is. And that is another type of abuse, neglect. So we have physical, sexual, psychological, and neglect. Those are four types of abuse. The last one I want to talk about is financial abuse. A lot of times when your loved ones, they're not calling anymore, and they, don't take care of their bills, they don't pay, any of their bills, and they get a power of attorney, or they get a family member to take care of their bills for them. Not only are they supposed to take care of their bills, they're supposed to make sure that they have everything that they need with their finances, such as make sure, if they got to spend the money for food, buy the food, they got to buy more clothes, they got to buy, if they need hair products, if they need, basic items such as lotion, deodorant, they have to make sure that they have all of that. But when you financially abuse your loved one, you're taking the money and you're using it for your good and not their good. For instance, oh, you have a bill due, but you get your loved one money, but you take that money and you pay your bills. That is financial abuse. And a lot of times, financial abuse happen because, you're the power of attorney. Nobody really knows what's going on. The loved one don't know how much money they get or what they have. And so therefore it's easy for a loved one to financially abuse their loved one. Signs of financial abuse. If you see, letters coming in the mail saying, this bill ain't paid from either a mortgage or life insurance, or your television get cut off, your lights get cut off, then the loved one finances finances are not being taken care of properly. So those are the 5 type of abuses. And if you do recognize that any one of these types of abuse are happening to your loved one, pick up the phone and call 911. That's the first thing. The second thing is try to pull the loved one, to the side and talk to them and find out what is going on if they're able to, talk with you. If all else fails, you can call the adult abuse hotline. I don't have the number, but I'll post it up. I'll post that number up, so that if you know anyone that is being abused, even your loved ones, because you just have to pay close attention. You have to when you're giving them a bath, look at their body, look at their skin, um, look at their finding, check their mail, check their mail, check their clothing, just make sure you stay in tune with your loved one, because it's every day that someone get abused. And so, with all that being said, I just wanted to ask Priscilla a question, because she is a caregiver. And on the other side of things, we think about the elderly as being abused, but the caregivers, they take some type of form of abuse too. I was a caregiver at a point a while ago, where I cared for 2 people, and you know, I did get some physical abuse from one of my clients. I did get some psychological abuse from one of my clients. But Priscilla, she's dealing with, taking care of her mom and her grandma. And I'm quite sure she's dealing with some type of abuse these days as she's doing the caretaking. So Priscilla, can you give us some examples of the different type of abuse that you deal with when you're talking to or taking care of your mom and your grandma?
Absolutely. With my mom, it's more so with her than it is my grandmother. My grandmother is a whole lot more subtle and she just goes with the flow. My mom, on the other hand, she can be very combative, and it can go from 0 to 100 in seconds. For instance, prime example, on tonight, or this evening when I got home from work. Um, I come in, and as I mentioned before, I think last week, she's in a stage now where she can eat right now, and 10 minutes after she eats, she has no memory of having eaten. And so when I tell her, yeah, you have eaten, then she becomes very, like I went from the sweetest person in the world to you just so mean. You so mean. You just don't want me to have anything to eat. And it can go like that very quickly, because for her, she doesn't remember that I've already eaten. I've already had something. And so, like tonight, she's, I haven't had anything to eat all day. Well, I came home for lunch. There's someone that's here with them throughout the day. I came home today because she had become combative earlier today with the person that was here. Not really combative, but just she's in a state of mind where she has to go. My number is the only phone number that she recognizes. And so she called me while I was at work. And when I called her back, because I couldn't answer right then, but I called back, and her response was that, hey, I've been here for a little while, so now it's time for me to go. So I'm trying to explain, no, you live there, you got to stay there. And so she's adamant about, no, it's not, I got to go. So I end up coming home, but of course she eats. They eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack in between if they want it. But because she can't remember, then it goes from, you know, uh, you being the sweetest person in the world to being called, you just so dumb, or you this or you that. And so, you get it. I mean, my mom she will fight if she thinks that it's something in her mind that says, this is what I want. And if you're telling her no, she can't get it or she can't do it, then she will become very combative. And will tell you in a split second, I'll fight you. And I call that's that Johnson stuff that come out. But that is kind of how it goes. That happened when I came home. Well, I get her dinner and get her ready for a bath. And so, you know, she goes in and she gets her bath, and she is at a point where she is still able to get her own bath and all that. I just have to assist with putting the clothes on because they go on backwards or, you know, however. But even at that moment, she's, you know, I'm getting her ready, getting her dressed, and she's back to, you know what, thank you so much. You're always so patient with me. I really appreciate you. So it can go both ways. I've experienced it on both ends, and a lot of times it happens in the same day. And so you never really know what a day will be like. And just as Olivia talked about, the caregivers giving or abusing rather the persons they're caring for, it does come back the other way as well. There are instances where those that are being cared for become the abusers as well, and they don't know any better. And a lot of it,
Mm-hmm.
they feel like this is the person because it's easy to feel like, oh, goodness, you know, I'm the one that's here and I'm the one that's taking care of you, and you know, you seem like you treat me the worst. It's easy to feel that way because
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes it's the ones that don't come around that they either want to be
Yeah.
around or they ask about, or you know, they are very appreciative of, and it's one that's here in the grind with them that, you know, tends to in so many ways be treated the worst. And it
Yeah.
happens all around, and a lot of times it's because they feel like, you know, they're safe with that person. They feel like that person's not going to go anywhere. My mom knows ultimately, I'm going to be here um, to make sure that she's okay. So it can go either way. You know, like I said, my grandmother, very easygoing. Every purple moon, she may say something. Generally, she says things when my mom is aggravating her. But my mom, on the other hand, because even now with my grandmother, she's helpful. She wants to do everything. She wants to feed her. She wants to put her to bed. She wants to take her to bed. Everything that she can't do, she wants to do. And so when I'm saying no, I got it, or you know, we'll take care of it, then it's a fight because it's like you don't want me to help my mama. So it's things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's where that tough skin comes in. That's where you have to realize that, you know, you have to walk away from the situation. Olivia talked about some things. I know for me, um, with my mom, and you know, at this stage, there are oftentimes when, you know, bath time is the most combative time,
Yes, it is.
because I've already taken a bath. I don't need to take a bath. You don't
Right.
tell me what to do, because for
All
her, it's
clean.
something that she has already, you know, always done on her own. And so those are times and moments when she becomes combative. And I mean, I've had, man, let me see, she's picked up a can to hit me with the can. She's, she'll pick up anything that's close. And you know, I wish I could show you what
Mm-hmm.
she does, but I'm not gonna go all that. But that's what they do because they don't understand it. And even in looking at some of the things that I looked at, how to cope with it, because that's what we need to know. How do you deal
Right.
with those type of situations when they do become combative? And one of the ways is to remove yourself from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not able to remove yourself from the situation, you know, you gotta kind of do one of those 1, 2, 3, 3, 2 ones, pray, all of that, because if it's happening consistently, I was reading a story a little bit earlier about a young lady who her mom was in a nursing home. But even being in a nursing home, she would go to visit her mom, and the mom would still be just as combative and nasty and say different things. And just so happened one of the nurses overheard the mom talking to the daughter, and so she told her, "Hey, take a break. Don't don't come tomorrow." And the daughter, being, you know, a daughter who wanted to be there, she still went the next day. and then received the same type of, you know, commentary from my mom, same type of, just abusive communication. And so the next day she said, I'm not going to go. She knew her mom was in good hands, and just decided not to go. And when she skipped a day and went back the
Mm-hmm.
following day, my mom was a whole different person, very caring, loving.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to remove yourself out of the situation and then go back and try it again, because they miss you. After a while they'll calm down, maybe for a day or maybe two, but they'll calm down because they realize, that you're not there. So as much as you can. I mean, I've learned how to take advantage of the moments that I can take. So my weekends, I try to get away, because through the course of a week, it's a lot. So, but now that I've been taking my me time, it strengthens you to be able to come back and do it again. But you got
Yeah.
to be able to step away and get away
Important.
from it, because you know, them first couple times that it happened, for those who may be new to it, I mean, you got to quickly gather your feelings and really, really put on tough skin and understand, as I always say, it is not them, it's the disease.
That's right.
Do as much research as you can do, support groups. If you can't physically go to one, jump on here, chat with us, do whatever, but learn as much as you can. There's so much information out there to kind of give you some direction on how
Mm-hmm.
you can deal. And now they have online support groups. I have a few websites I'm going to give you today that will help you. These are sites that I use. I research, I go and I look, because you got to know how to deal with certain situations and certain
Right.
behaviors, because they change. Those
And
behaviors,
everyone is
hey,
different.
full moons, they change. Am I right, Olivia?
Yes, and each one is a separate case.
Yeah,
They are all not the same. You may have one that's combative, you may have one that's verbally abusive, you may have one that's just silent, that don't want to do anything but sit there.
yep,
So you just have to research and pay close attention to your loved one or your client, so you can know exactly what to do. A lot of things that Priscilla said, I used to do. I used to either walk away, I used to either, redirect them, change the subject, go back like 10, 15 minutes later, because a lot of times they forget what they do. So just pay close attention to your client. Get to know your client. Once you get to know your client and your client ways, you will learn how to react and not respond. I
yeah,
mean, respond and not react.
yeah. Your client, your loved one, whoever it is you're dealing with. No, and this is the thing. It may not be a different person. It may be that same person that will give you all
Mm-hmm.
of those different things,
Yep.
sometimes on the same day, sometimes on a different day. It just
Yep.
depends on where they are, what their mind is telling them at that particular time. They could take you through a whole bunch of different things in one day, in one whole day. And so, you got to know how to walk away too, and just go and regroup.
Go with the
I've
flow.
I've
Go with the
learned
flow.
the importance of that. So it's on both sides. For me, sometimes if I know that my mom or my grandmother, they're not going out, I let them, like my mom. She's gonna go in and she's gonna put on whatever. Now if today was a good day. When I said, after she fussed a little bit about the food, when I said, hey, got to get a bath tonight, she cooperated. If I know that they're not going anywhere, she can go in the drawer and pull out whatever she want to put on, because I
Right.
figure they're in the house. They're not going. If somebody comes by here to see them, then this is how she is. This is how
That's
we live.
right. That's keeping her dignity too.
Exactly. And as long as we
Mm-hmm.
go, we get ready to go out, then I make sure, depending on where we're going, then I'll make sure that she's matching, clothes are on properly, what have you. But
Right.
it's kind of like everything else. You choose your battles. Choose your battles. If she doesn't want to get her hair combed today and she's not going anywhere, then we're not combing her hair,
That's
because
right.
it's more frustrating for you to try and force them to do. It's just like children, literally. It's more frustrating for you to force them to do something that their mind says, I'm just not going to do. And so if you're not going anywhere and they're going to be home,
Right.
hey, you don't want your hair combed? So be it.
That's
You
right.
know, um, if you don't want to put your shoes on, so be it. And that's kind of how I've had to deal with it. You cannot force them to do what their mind is telling them to do at that particular time. You have to go along
Right.
with it. Just go with the flow. I do. I tell my mom, even with her hair like it is, and it's one way I've learned that I can calm her too. I tell her, because I believe it even beyond saying it. I tell her in a minute, you're so beautiful, no matter what she has on. Sometimes I just look at her and I say, man, mom, you're so beautiful. And you should see
Mm-hmm.
the smile. And she'll say, oh, you just said that because you know I don't look good right now. Yes, you do. And it
Yeah.
eases and brings her
That's
attitude
right.
right on down. You know,
That's right. That's positive words, Priscilla. That works a lot.
yeah.
You just speak positive to them. I used to do that a lot with my client, and it used to work a lot. Just speaking positive, nice things to her, and I
Mm-hmm.
would be able to tell the difference because when we would speak to her, we would always be positive, and her daughter would come in. And her daughter would say something that she didn't like, and she would like start yelling at her, and there go that physical abuse coming, psychological abuse coming back towards her daughter, and I would be looking at her like, why? But her daughter would never like hug her, would never speak positive to her, would never compliment her. And so in reality, her daughter was really kind of like abusing her, but she didn't know that she was doing it.
Yeah. And it
Yeah,
works.
it
They
does.
want to be listened to the same way you do. They want to be listened to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of the stuff that they say, you have no idea. But you have to listen to them, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, you just can't force them. I mean, mine are like night and day, literally, like night and day. Um,
Yeah.
and for those of you, let me say this while I'm thinking about it. My grandmother turned 95 years old on
Yay.
Monday.
Happy
95 years
birthday.
old. We celebrated. We did what we did. I was moved as well. My pastors came by just to say happy birthday, and they prayed
Yeah.
with us, prayed for my daughter, and prayed for us, and it meant a whole lot. But I'm like 95 years old, so she get a pass anyway. Even without it, she gets a pass because at 95, you forget whatever you want to forget if you want.
Right
But
at 95.
thank you all for those of you that took the moment and wished her a happy birthday, said whatever it is you said. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I did. I read every last post to her, so she knows that you all said happy birthday. But as I was saying, they're like night and day. I mean, she rarely, but you have to deal with them based on where they are every now and then.
That's right.
You
Meet
know,
them with it.
um, thankfully, for my end, we always regroup and we circle back around to Jesus, because both of them are saved, both of them love the Lord, and so we circle back around to Jesus. We circle back around to God. And so that helps as well. We start talking about the Bible, or we could put on, and this is another thing that I've learned too, even when it comes down to calming them and taking music. Now, music
Yes.
does, it's something
Music
about
work.
music. And I guess it goes back to the Bible. For those of you that know the story of Saul, and even when David would play the harp for him, there's something about music that soothes and that calms. And so both of them have their own favorite songs. My mom's in particular, At the Gate I Know, Church of God by Faith, Lake Wells, Family. Y'all know my mom used to tear that song up. So we would put it on with Kaylin. We'll put that song on and it calms her down, and she'll close her
Yes.
eyes and get some. So even with music, if you can find some soothing music or something that they like, that will help to calm them down, and that will cut out some of the verbal and mental abuse that goes on. But ultimately, to bring this to a close, ultimately, it is a matter of, you know, making sure that you're not forcing them to do what they don't want to do. Um, that abuse is serious. You know,
It
it's
is.
real. That's why we took the opportunity to talk about it tonight, because it happens. I mean, people get frustrated because at the end of the day, you have your life that is going on. I work 40 hours a week. I work every day. I work. I have a teenager. I have a life outside of this. At least I try to have one. I go to church, do what I do. And so, but when you factor in some of that stuff, it's you know, when you have your own life, you have to know how to handle this stuff, because depending on you just, it's almost like you don't really have time to have a moment, if you want to look at it like that. You just don't have time. I mean, because you can't take out your frustrations on the person that you're caring for. And so you got to learn for real to, do whatever it is you do. For me, it is prayer, it is the word of God. It is, I throughout the day I listen to preaching, I look at the word, whatever it is that becomes your safe place. Then you have to use that, because you can't come home, you frustrated at work, or you're frustrated at
It
whatever,
doesn't
and
work.
then you come home and you take it out on the people that you care about. That's not fair. You know,
No,
I
that's right.
always use, and I think about, for me, um, I live by, and I try to live by the golden rule. I treat everybody the way I want to be treated. It's no different for my mom, for my grandmother. I'm like, I'm caring for them, because my thing is, I treat them the way I would want somebody to treat me if I was in that same situation.
That's right.
If it were me, I couldn't remember, I was dealing with the same thing. I want you to give me the same dignity and the same respect that you would anybody else. And that's what it's about. That whole notion that they won't remember or they don't care. Yeah, they're still people. They're still human. They still have feelings. And so you don't get a right to take advantage of them just because they're in a different state than what they used to be. And so, you know, gotta remember that. You gotta remember that. Even on those days when it may be tougher than others, you gotta remember. You gotta treat them the way you want somebody to treat you, the way you would want somebody to treat your family if you're caring for them. And just real quick, for those of you who maybe, I know I've had some to reach out to me, and I put this plug in every time we do this for Kima Jones, that's her name. If you want to look her up on Facebook, um, look them up on Facebook. But I put this plug in there for them because I found them, and they've been great for me. Youth for Aging Healthcare Services. Reach out to them. Find somebody that can help you. As I stated earlier, I have someone who's here 40 hours a week. So while I'm at work, I have somebody that comes in, and that person gives them the quality of care that I would get, and that I wholeheartedly believe. Um, but find somebody. But when you're looking for, if you're looking for somebody to come into your house, if you want to do a home health care, Youth for Aging Healthcare Services, you can find them on Facebook. You can find Kima Jones on Facebook. They do everything. But just some tips, if you are looking for a caregiver, when you contact them, have a clear description of what it is you want them to do. you know um, know what it is. I mean, for some, they do light housekeeping. They do not get hired to come and clean your house like detail. It's light housekeeping. Okay, so know what it is you want them to do. When they come, be flexible and fair about paying them, because reality is, it's not easy work. For my two are not, I clean my own house. I pretty much have everything set up. And so, really, for mine, I just need somebody here. Hmm? Yeah. I just need somebody here with them. But it's different cases for different people. So, I set up my meals, and so all it is taking them out, nuking them in the microwave, and giving it to them, and everybody's happy. But know what it is you want them to do, and pay them. If you need information, I mean, thankfully, there are resources out there that can help you with the financial assistance that you may need to pay for services. If you're not able to, they have services. You can contact me, inbox me, what have you. If you want some additional information, I can give you that. I'm not going to take the time to do that right this moment, but contact me. I do have some resources for you. And then make sure you interview these people. Look at their resources, their references. I'm sorry. Look at their references. Because people smile, they do well. When you take your loved ones to these facilities, some of them, they are, that first appearance, they are the bomb. And then you like, yeah, this is it. And then you find out there are things that are going on that you don't, necessarily want going on. I would highly suggest getting the camera system. Everybody got them now. And so if you have them in your home, put your cameras up. You can get on your phone or your iPad and look in and see what's going on. That's one sure way to ensure that nothing is going on. But make sure that you check the references, call them, and find out. Make sure that these people are clean. Make sure they have a background check. That's important. Background
Very
check.
important.
Know what that background looks like. Make sure you don't have, sexual abusers or whatever, different types of abusers that are caring for your loved ones. All right. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Whatever it is you want to know. I tell people all the time, and I say it, Kima, if she's on or anybody, any of them, they know. I will. I ask questions because you need to make sure that the people that are here, if you choose to bring them into your home, or even if you take your loved one somewhere else, you want to make sure that these people are given the same type of care that you can give, okay, that you would want. And so ask as many questions. Don't be afraid to ask whatever questions you need to ask, because that's where your people are going to be, okay. um, Another thing, if you have a home caregiver and you're concerned, 5 ways to be able to check on them. Stay and check, drop in, make phone calls, call them. My mama, my grandma, they'll talk to you. They'll tell you. And sometimes it may be a slip out. They may be talking about something else. Am I right, Olivia?
Yes.
They may be talking about something else. And in that conversation, they may say something that cues you to tune in a little bit more to hear what has been going on. I mean, I thank God hasn't been my case, but I do know that there's some things my mom they could talk about that you just like, you just kind of ponder that thing. Um, but do drop-ins, call, and don't just do it the first 2 weeks, but just drop in unexpectedly. You'll figure out a whole lot, and see, especially those who have, well, I can't say that either. I mean, in the home, outside the home, drop in on them. Go, don't just drop in. Go see them. Go see your people. All right.
That's right.
Trust your gut instinct.
That's right.
Listen to the feedback, and ask for a daily log. If they're here, have them jot down what they do, especially when they're first coming in. Let them jot down, well, what is it that you did today? While you're here for 8 hours, while you're here for 4 hours, what did you do? And trust it. If you see something that looks strange, trust it.
Speak up.
Huh?
I'm
Yeah.
saying speak up. Tell them to speak up. Don't be afraid to ask anything. Speak up.
That's right. All right. So we do hope that this segment has helped you on some level for tonight. As I stated earlier, I'll give you some websites. I always promote alz.org. That's ALZ.org. I mean, you can go in there and get lost with information. They have information for caregivers. They have information that'll give you background with dementia, the background with Alzheimer's. They give you information in regards to resources for finances. There's video trainings you can go on. I've started some. You can go on there and get certifications. ALZ.org. Okay. Another one is agingcare.com. AGINGCARE.com. You can go on there. Great support groups on there. They talk about various things that are very helpful. You can join the support groups, and they have different things that they talk about throughout, and you can go on there if you're having a moment and you don't know who to talk to. You can type your stuff in anonymously, and there's hundreds of people on there, and they have conversations and they help to encourage and support. Here in Tallahassee, we have alzheimersproject.org. It's all one word, alzheimersproject.org. You can log on there. They'll give you information for some resources here in Tallahassee. They have the respite care, all that on there. So check out those websites. Find the information. If you want more information in regards to those, comment, inbox, either way. We'll be more than happy to get you the information. And lastly, and this is something that we'll do probably in our next section. Next week, we won't be on next week on Thursday evening because we have a consecration with our ministry, and so we'll have prayer. Feel free. You can join us for prayer at Life Changes. That can be our support group. You can meet us there and we'll pray with you. 601 Mississippi Road, Tallahassee, 32308. Pastors Gerald and Judy Mandrell will be there next Thursday evening at 7 o'clock for prayer. So don't meet us online, but if you like to meet us for prayer, that's where we'll be at Life Changers. But we'll send out some information. I'm going to probably post some videos that'll be helpful for you on next Thursday instead, and then you can meet us the following Thursday back live. But one of the things that I'm going to start doing as well, because in addition to just sharing this information with you, as we stated earlier, we want to be able to build community. This is our desire, to build community, to help strengthen and encourage you, to strengthen and encourage us. We want to chat. We want to hear from you. But I purchased a book that I think is an excellent book. It's called Grace for the Unexpected Journey. It's a 60-day devotional for Alzheimer's and other dementia caregivers.
Oh, wow.
It's a 60-day journal. So one of the other things that we're going to start doing as well is just briefly, we're going to talk about, that we're going to take the journey with those 60 days, and we're going to discuss a little bit of that devotional, say a quick prayer for you, and that's another way that we're going to help to strengthen and encourage you on this journey. So meet us back here, not next week, but the week after. Share it with others, and I'm trying to get the date for you, my phone.
20th. I believe it's the 20th.
The 20th. So meet us back on the 20th of September, that Thursday, and we'll let you know before then what the topic is going to be. Olivia, anything else?
Nope.
All right.
We done said it all.
Thank y'all for chatting with us tonight.
Thank you.
And we look forward to being back on in 2 weeks. But do check out my page. Go on and like my other page, which is, you'll sit at the top of the flyer, My Favorite Girl in Alzheimer's. That's my Facebook page. So go on there, like it. We'll share that as well. And we'll be sharing the information. So if you have any topics or anything you want us to talk about, hit me up on Facebook, private message, however you want to do it. Just hit me up on Facebook, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll answer as many questions as we can. As we stated earlier, next month our goal is to bring in healthcare professionals that will come in and do these lives with us to be able to provide you with additional information as well. So we look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the week.
Yes, good night.